Good evening and a warm welcome to K24 Sport. I'm Shon Osimbo Kasula. Tonight is the referee edition here at K24 Sport. We are humbled to talk to one of the greatest football referees in the world, that is English referee Mark Clattenburg, who has taken charge of some of the biggest games in the world, including the 2016 UEFA Champions League final, where Real Madrid won 5-3 on post-match penalties against Atletico Madrid, the Euro 2016 final, where Portugal lifted that title against France, and the FA Cup final that saw Manchester United beat Crystal Palace 2-1. Clattenburg, who was voted the best referee in the world in 2016, has also made appearances in the English Premier League and the Chinese Super League. He joins us live from Newcastle in the United Kingdom. So just come, we'll dive right in so that we can talk to him about what he has been up to. Welcome to the program, Mark. What have you been up to during this COVID-19 season?
Since it all started. I left China in December when the end of the season happened. So I was lucky to leave China then. All the pandemic broke, especially in the United Kingdom. So I've been home. Self-isolating, of course, but I'm keeping fit because even though China has now cancelled my contract because of the visa issues, I'm ready for my next challenge, so I'm keeping fit. I want to stay ready. I'm only 45, so I want to see what the future will bring.
Yes, and most people remember you from the English Premier League days. Tell us how you got to that position, if you don't mind, and what motivated you to become a referee.
I started at 16, so that was very young. 13 years later, I was refereeing in the Premier League, so it was a big jump in 13 years. It was hard dedication, working on my fitness, listening to other referees. I wanted to be the best I could be. I wanted to referee on the Premier League, the best league in the world. I was given that opportunity, and I thoroughly enjoyed 13 full years on the Premier League, and I had some amazing moments. But the thing was, without my support of my family, I wouldn't have been able to do it because, you know, it's a very difficult profession. It's not like a football player where they can miss many chances and score goals and they're a hero. If I make a mistake on the football pitch, I am criticised all over the world, so it's always difficult. But without my family and support, I would never have been a top referee.
Yes, and what are some of your best moments in the English Premier League, if you can talk us through it?
There was many amazing moments. I remember my first match, Crystal Palace v Everton, back in 2004. And my last match, West Bromwich Albion against Leicester in 2017. So I remember them two matches very importantly. But there were some amazing matches, some very important matches that could have decided the title. Liverpool, Manchester City in 2014. I refereed every derby game, every top match. I remember 2016, the Battle of Stamford Bridge. Chelsea beat Tottenham when Leicester City won the league, and to watch that back now, it was a war. Possibly I could have refereed it differently, but now hindsight is a great thing. But what a theatre! That's what the Premier League was all about. Leicester winning the league, and the theatre around this, and it was brilliant to watch.
Yes, so many ups in the Premier League, but definitely we have to talk about the downs, and 2012 was a specific difficult year for you, and this is because of that controversial Chelsea versus Manchester United match where the Blues lost 3-2 to the Red Devils. The sending off of Fernando Torres, Hernandez scoring from what seemed like an offside position. You know, take us just through, what were your thoughts after maybe you went back and watched the game? What were your thoughts about that specific moment, those two moments?
I know we have many Chelsea fans in Kenya, so I will have many people criticising me for this match. It was a difficult match. I sent off two players. Maybe looking back, Torres maybe was harsh. Not wrong, but harsh. Maybe I could have refereed it differently. But the offside goal is difficult for a referee because I have to take advice from my assistant referee. He made the call. He made it wrong. I have to go by this because I'm the boss. But everybody blames the referee for the offside goal, but I have to take advice from my colleague. With technology now, the VAR, this would have disallowed the goal. But we have to live and die by the decisions. My assistant got it wrong on the day, and this led to Manchester United winning the match 3-2. There was a lot of hostile atmosphere after the match because all the big decisions went against Chelsea.
Yes, and Another sad moment from that match is when John Obi Mikel actually accused you of racially abusing him during the match. You were cleared later, but you have been on record saying how you received threats after that specific altercation. How did you overcome it, and how was that moment specifically for you?
It was an extremely difficult moment to be first accused of being a racist. Certainly, I'm not, and things are said on the football pitch, and I knew I hadn't said the words that I was alleged to have used. It took me 4 weeks of interviews, meetings, to eventually prove that I was innocent. It was so difficult for the family because the scrutiny, the media outside my house, I had no security. Mm-hmm. It was very, very big pressure. To be eventually proven not guilty was a big relief, but I wanted to finish refereeing. I didn't want to referee anymore because the abuse I was taking, the death threats I was taking was not acceptable. And I said to my family I wanted to leave refereeing, but the difficult thing for refereeing is there's no other industry to go to. If I was a football player, I can go to another club. As a referee, you cannot leave. So I had to pay the mortgage. I had to look after my family. I couldn't leave. So I decided to carry on refereeing, and I'm pleased I did carry on refereeing because I achieved so much later in my career. But this was a difficult moment for me and my family because it was world news. People have their opinions of my performance on the pitch and the emotions, but the emotions of football should stay on the pitch. Mm-hmm. And I think Chelsea Football Club could have handled it differently, but also, I understand that racism is a big thing in life and a big thing in the world, and therefore it should be investigated, but I was put under a lot of pressure.
Yes, you have to understand also where the world is coming from. So what are your thoughts on the ongoing debate about racism across the world, especially after the death of African-American George Floyd that has sparked protests across the globe?
I think I speak for many, many people around the world. It's sad. You're now talking 2020. We are all one. We are all one people. Black lives matter. They do. And we all care about the world. We care about each other. And we need to respect each other. And, it doesn't matter if you're black or white. It should not matter. And, it's saddened that we are still talking about this in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's just move on to 2016, which will definitely go down as one of your best years when it comes to your refereeing career. The UEFA Champions League final, the Euro 2016 final. And let's just talk about the Champions League between the two Madrid sides. That is Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. Real Madrid winning on 5-3 on post-match penalties. How does a referee get ready for such a top-level match?
People think you just turn up. I turned up in Milan and this is it, but no, it's a lot of hard work. I watched many finals. I watched many matches between the two teams because I know when two Madrid teams are playing, it's going to be difficult. The final 2 years before was a very difficult match for the referee to referee, so I wanted to be prepared. I refereed Atletico and Real many times before, so I knew the players. But it's a final, the pressure of the final. I remember even just walking out into the stadium before the start of the match, and all I think about is not dropping the match ball. And this was the most important moment for me, not to drop the match ball, because over 1 billion people will watch worldwide. This is the pressure that you have as a referee, that you make one mistake, and then it's going to be discussed around the world by many, many people. But this is what top referees like, because we want to referee the biggest games in the world because it has so much enjoyment also.
Yes, and one of the most another controversial moment in your refereeing career came from this specific match, and that is Sergio Ramos was seen to be offside, if you can remember that goal. Was he offside? And once you realized that later on, did you make a call that wasn't meant to be? Like, what happened in your head once you looked at that Sergio Ramos goal again?
It's a difficult one for the assistant referee because I have to rely again on the assistant referee. It's his call for offside. I'm in the perfect position for any infringement for handball, pushing in the penalty area, so I cannot see offside. It's impossible for me to see the offside. I asked the question after the goal, are you sure Ramos is not offside? He said no. And we have to live by this decision. It's a difficult decision for the assistant because it happened so quick. Mm-hmm. He got it wrong because factually, offside is factual. We cannot discuss is it a foul or not? Because this is opinion. But offside, no opinion. It's offside or not. And maybe at half time, the Atletico players were telling me that this decision was offside. Difficult, but they accept that it was offside. I didn't see it. But then I had a chance, there was a penalty situation. We can discuss penalty or no penalty, but I whistled penalty. It was Torres. I couldn't upset Torres again after 2012 sending him off for Chelsea, Manchester. So now he gets a penalty I give him. So they get a penalty and they miss the penalty. Griezmann misses the penalty. And then they miss a penalty in the shootout to win the match. They miss another one in penalty shootout. So many people blame me for Atletico losing the match. They had many opportunities in the match to win. They had a chance to score penalties and they didn't. But for me, I was satisfied with my performance because it's a big match. It's a difficult match. Not many people can understand the difficulty of refereeing a final and also two Madrid sides. But with the assistant referee making a mistake, the VAR could have been a big addition to refereeing because this VAR would have been a decision to overturn and correct because without the technology, it's difficult.
Yes, and also still on that match, in one of your recent interviews, you also talked about how you shut Pepe up. And you know, when it came to such matches, how Pepe was quite the beast on the pitch. Pepe was angry, and according to you, he said to you, never a penalty, Mark, the penalty you're talking about. And then you replied, your first goal shouldn't have stood. And immediately you say it shut Pepe up. Tell us about that moment, and how is a referee supposed to act when things get heated on the pitch?
This is a good example because you need to diffuse the situations. Some players can speak English. Pepe can speak English. He likes to play act. He wants to be the mischievous one. I knew this as a referee, so I have to be mindful that he can cause me problems. He tried to cause me problems later in the match by trying to get players sent off. But in this situation, he was trying to plead that he didn't make a foul. He didn't think his team should have given a penalty. And all I said to him was, please, if you don't think this is a penalty, then I don't think your first goal should be allowed. So this is like for him to say, please be quiet, because you cannot have two. You have an offside goal, maybe, and you pleading against the penalty. That means everything is for at Real Madrid. Now Atletico have a chance to have balance in the match, to make a penalty, to make it 1-1. But they missed. This is not my fault as a referee, but this situation with Pepe, it finished the situation. He didn't cause me any more problems for dissent.
Yes, and then you also refereed in the Euro 2016 final, the FA Cup final. Why do you think you are trusted with such top-level games?
Maybe experience. Maybe how I handle the big matches. I like the big matches to be fair, to have balance, but also to flow, to make the game exciting for the people, because many people can comment about the referee and say, this should be a foul, this is no foul. But I can whistle maybe 100 times per match. And then everybody watches back and says, this is not a good match to watch, blah, blah, blah. And it's important for the referee to have the feeling, to understand football, to let the matches flow, to make it exciting within the spirit of football. So I was a referee who liked to play advantage, and with all my experience, with all my level of trust, they give me the big finals, and I tried my best in all the finals, but there was mistakes. But I'm a human being. Any referees make mistakes.
Yes. And Mark, you were at the peak of your profession, and then you just woke up and you're like, you know what? I'm done with the English Premier League for now. I'm heading to Saudi Arabia, and then later on you went to China. Why? I think that is the question you've been asked the most. Why did you decide to leave while at the peak of your career?
First point is refereeing is a short career. So I have to look after my family. Because I need to look at another profession outside of refereeing. I went to Saudi Arabia to educate their referees. They need to challenge myself and to go to Saudi Arabia, to a different country, different culture. I needed this challenge, and after 13 years of the Premier League, I wanted to have a different culture. And I enjoyed going to Saudi Arabia and spending 2 exciting years there. But China was also a culture. I refereed there 1 year, and it was also a different challenge. It was a harder challenge in the Premier League because dealing with culture of Chinese people, and also the language barrier, different environment to live in. This was an excellent challenge for me as a referee and as a person.
Yes. And would you make a comeback to the English Premier League?
I'm not sure many people would like me to come back, especially Chelsea spectators and many people around the world. But, I'm 45-year-old. I think now maybe my years as a referee is getting too old. But I would like to help other countries develop their referees. I have big experience, and I want to help and educate the young referees who want to be World Cup referees and to be the best referees in the world.
Yes. What are your thoughts on the video assistant referee? Is it a blessing, or you think, not really? Because we've seen also some of the mistakes that have been made while VAR is also in action.
Yeah, I think because the VAR is a new technology, there's always going to be mistakes, for sure. I would like VAR inside when I was a referee, because we are talking about some controversial moments tonight. The Chelsea, Manchester, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. With video, these decisions could be corrected, especially on offside. Okay, penalties we can discuss, but certainly for offside, these decisions would have been corrected, and then nobody would have criticised me as a referee. But without the technology, I had to make the call from the best position I was in. But for me, video technology will be here to stay, and it will improve. For sure, it will improve. And in the many years, it will be forgotten about, and everybody will be using it and forgetting that we have the video technology, and nobody will be looking to criticize it, because it could save a referee's career, but also make the game fair.
And as we just approach to the end of the interview, who are some of the most annoying players you have ever refereed?
I think many people seen Pepe in the Champions League final. He was very annoying. You know how he is on the pitch. He tries to wind players up. Ramos can also be difficult because he commits fouls. He also tries to wind other players up, which makes it more difficult for the referee. So I remember them 2 players in the Champions League very well, because they want the reaction. But because my experience, I knew that these type of players, what they are like and capable of. So therefore, I didn't react. So the fair decisions were made, and I didn't react to them. But they are very difficult players to referee.
Yes, and you've also refereed in games Messi and Ronaldo are actually in. Tell us about these players, because everyone talks about them. Who's the greatest of all time? GOAT.
We can argue. There is many arguments about Ronaldo. There's many arguments about Messi. I refereed Messi maybe 2 times. Ronaldo more, of course, because Real Madrid. But they were both different players. Ronaldo scored many goals from different positions with a head, the foot outside. Messi was so amazing on the ball. In fact, I was memorized when I first refereed him, because he could do things with the ball that I'd never seen as a referee. So to be able to referee these type of players, I was privileged and honoured, and to referee the highest matches in the world, I was blessed. And I'm so thankful for what I have done in refereeing. Thankful for my family to allow it.
Yes, and finally, as we wrap up, finally, what is your advice to the upcoming football referees who actually look up to you? I know I had sent you a video earlier about John Fidel, a young boy who is trying his best to just get to the top level one day, and he's dreaming big. What is your advice?
Stay humble, be yourself, work hard, because I worked very hard to achieve everything I did. But learn from your mistakes, because you will make many mistakes. Everybody in life makes mistakes. Referees make more mistakes because everybody sees them. But learn from them, because I used to watch all my matches back, and every time I made a mistake, I wanted to know why and see if I could put it right for the next match. But always learn. But for sure, this young referee from Kenya, I wish him the best of luck, and I will try and watch his future, and hopefully he will whistle some big matches.
Yes, thank you. Oh, finally, one question from a viewer we have here. How's refereeing behind closed doors now that the coronavirus has actually changed everything?
It's difficult. I think it will be difficult for also the players because the intensity is different. I refereed Greece v Romania behind closed doors, and the intensity was very low. The players, the echo around the stadium, so it's difficult. So I'm sure the Premier League will have some difficulties, but we will enjoy. To have the Premier League back is a big enjoyment, so let's enjoy it at the moment.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, Mark Clattenburg, giving us your experience in those top-level matches of your career. Thank you so much for also sharing your wisdom with the upcoming football referees across the world who are actually watching. Have a lovely evening. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless.
Yes, that was Mark Clattenburg, just, talking to us, bonding with us here on K24 Sport. We promise to be bringing you these interviews. It's just not for fun, but also for you to learn from it. And this was the referees edition. We have so many referees across the world, across the country, actually watching this specific interview. So I hope you've learned something. Rose?
Well, actually, my experience here is that I've never been really a big fan of football, but when you guys break it down like this, it becomes more interesting. And Shon, really a good job there. This is not the first interview we've had. We have Peter Drury, Jim Belgin, all of whose interviews and YouTube links you have shared on Twitter. And of course, incidentally, these two guys will be actually commentating together on the 17th of June.
Yes.
Manchester City,
She's
Arsenal.
learning football.
I am learning football. How about that? So I guess, yeah, you can also learn something and enjoy it. So thank you so much for your viewership tonight. Of course, we have seen your feedback right here. All your messages, we are unable to read that due to the interest of time, and especially on the condolences of the fallen head of state, Burundian President Pierre Nkurunziza. May his soul rest in peace. Thank you so much for your viewership tonight. I am Rose Gako, and Clement Muli is our sign language interpreter. Good night.
And I'm Shon Osimbo. Have a lovely evening.